Rosena Allin-Khan, hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Really well, thanks.
Good. You are the Labour MP for Tooting.
I am.
A candidate to be Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. You're also a one-time Joe presenter.
Yes, very proud of that.
And so because we're colleagues, I feel like I owe you a degree of honesty.
Okay.
I think you're not going to win the Deputy Leadership contest.
Thank you for your honesty.
What do you think about that?
I respectfully disagree.
Go on, tell me why.
Because there has to be room in the Labour Party for someone who is the rank outsider, who has shared lived experiences with much of this country in terms of growing up in poverty, who has had a Labour government turn her life around, who has then served her community, has not been a career politician and then arrived in Parliament. There has to be room for someone like me to make it onto the ballot and put my case to the members.
Just to get into the nitty-gritty of this process, you know, you're looking for now nominations from constituency Labour parties.
Yes.
You're on 4 so far.
Yes.
And you've got quite a way to go to get to the magic number. What's
That's
your
right.
route to get there? How do you think you're going to do it?
Just be myself and hope that a large number of people watch this video and and see how committed I am, how I have so much grit and fire in my belly and a love for our party, and that actually, you know, being the rank outsider is a good thing because no one knows you, no one's expecting anything from you, and then I've met with so much really incredible support when people have got to know me, and you know, they might offer me a job like you did, Joe.
Yes, perhaps. So I suppose this is really a big step for you, you know, exposure to this sort of level, this frontline level. Do you know what I mean? You're sort of up there with Keir, Angie, Rebecca Long-Bailey, Emily Thornberry. You know, these are the big beasts of the Labour Party, and you're up there with them.
Yeah.
What surprised you about this process so far?
In all honesty, it surprised me that I got the nominations with the ease that I did. I've only been here for 3 years and I got incredible support from MPs up and down the country, and 50% of all of the MEPs nominated me. So actually I was very comfortable on the Monday morning, got the numbers I needed, and I'd only had my hat in this race for 6 days. There were other candidates who were great, who are really well known. They've been in the shadow cabinet, they have massive profiles, they threw their hat in the ring a long time ago. But actually, I was really surprised that when I spoke to colleagues and said I was thinking about doing it, they said, I would love to nominate you. So that's probably surprised me the most.
And yeah, I'm sure an achievement that you feel very proud of. I think you would agree with me that the Labour Party is currently in a situation where it needs winners. It needs winners at the helm, right? Mm-hmm. And outside of politics, I would like you to tell me about something that you've won.
Actually, I'm going to say about something outside of politics, but in politics, I just want to let you know about this. I won a solid Tory council seat that I was told was not winnable. I am an absolute grafter and winner, and I never accept the word impossible. And I stood to be a local councillor only a few years ago. It had been a solid Tory seat for 24 years, and I won it by 16 votes, Ollie. That's 16 conversations where I convinced people that they could put their trust in me. I then, less than 2 years after that, won a really competitive by-election selection process. There were 119 people went for it, and I got selected, though at the time I was driving a double buggy, working as a junior doctor in my local A&E and living in a 1-bed rental flat with my babies. It was an uphill struggle, but I won that. I then won the by-election, and I then strengthened twice a marginal seat, which was a Tory target. So I'm a winner in politics, and I'm a winner by the fact that I just got the nominations in the first place. But in terms of winning in life, I grew up in absolute poverty, and it was really hard. We were cold, we were often hungry, had to go to bed at night hearing my mum crying in the next room, knowing that she was really struggling to work out how she was going to feed us. I failed all my A-levels, because things were so hard at home, and I was really made to believe like I'd never amount to anything. And I didn't give up then, Ollie. I didn't. I resat my A-levels. I had a commitment to wanting to change life for others, and I kept on battling. I kept on keeping on, and I went to Cambridge, age 24, to study medicine, being the funny-looking mixed-race girl from Tooting who was told she'd never amount to anything. And I did that because the Labour Party believed in me and I believed in myself. And then I took that same fire in my belly, that same grit and fight to then campaign for people on our NHS front line, and then to go to war zones and disaster zones and support people there. I've called a genocide out in Myanmar. I've got myself on a plane, gone over there. There are lots of candidates who are talkers. I'm a doer. When I see something wrong, I don't just talk about it being wrong, I do something about it.
You've spoken about your work in Myanmar before, and I know it's an emotional subject for you, but I wonder if you could just give us a little more detail on what it was that you're doing there, because I know you mentioned you called it out as genocide, but you went further than that, didn't you? You volunteered, you went over there, you offered your medical skill set to help.
Yeah. It was as simple as I turned on the TV and I saw what was going on, and I said, I want to go out there and I want to do something, because I'm a humanitarian doctor, I've got expertise in this field, and I was told it was going to be difficult for me to go because I was an MP, I couldn't go down the DFID route. So I said, I'm not taking no for an answer. Contacted all of the NGOs working out there, and I convened a meeting, and I said, can one of you please write me an invitation letter, because I want to go out there, because I knew that they couldn't really report on what was going on. There were some difficulties, but I knew that media could report on me reporting on it. So I flew out there by myself. I arrived in the refugee camp and worked with Christian Aid and went into the camps, into the clinics, to the border where people were coming over. And I met people and made a commitment to telling their story. I met people whose children had been taken from them and thrown onto burning fires. People had to make the unenviable choice of retrieving their burning baby off a fire or running with the child that was still alive, seeing their loved ones dismembered, being raped, and then travelling for days and days and days, sometimes heavily pregnant, ill, injured, just to try and get to safety. And when I went over there and met these people and treated them in the clinics, I was asked, like, how does it make you feel as an MP? I said, it doesn't make me feel anything as an MP. As a human, being here is the right thing to do. As a mother, as a doctor, just humanity has no borders. There cannot be a passport control for our compassion. And these are Labour values. Everything I do is enshrined with my Labour values, and I take that around the world. And then I came back and I made sure I did every single piece of media I could. I exhausted myself. I didn't sleep for so long. I was quite depressed as well. And every time I had the opportunity to talk about it, I was like, I made promises that I would do it. And actually, it caused cross-party people to do something about it. And then Boris Johnson at the time, who was Foreign Secretary, even felt forced to go and see for himself because I kept on calling it out. But I didn't just stop there. I went back a year later because I was determined that the issue shouldn't be off the table, even though it had gone quiet in the news. I knew that there were 1 million people there living in desperate conditions, being trafficked, being raped, being exploited. So I got on a plane again and went and did something about it. And I'm a doer. I get things done. What my best friend says she likes about me the most, she says, if we turn the news on and we're watching it and something makes me angry, the next day I'm on a plane somewhere, or I'm calling for a debate, or I'm setting up a petition, or I'm doing something about it. And I've been driven by that my whole life, and yeah, now is no different. I want to do the same for our party. And yeah, of course I'm the outsider. But that doesn't stop me speaking to people, because you might have someone watching this who has mental health problems because they failed everything and they feel like they'll amount to nothing. And they might hear this story, Ollie, and they might think, she was able to turn her life around, maybe I can too. That makes me a winner.
So let's talk about the Labour Party then, a little bit about the general election just gone. What do you think Jeremy Corbyn got wrong in the election just gone?
I've thought about this long and hard, and I've been around the country speaking to people in places where we lost MPs and asking them what they thought as well. So my answer is actually based upon some real in-depth investigation into it. We had a manifesto, which I'm really proud of, where we are an anti-austerity party, and that is a fantastic thing, but our messages weren't clear. I spoke to campaigners who on the doorstep didn't know what they were selling. Our messages in the media weren't coherent. We were throwing policies out every single day, and the only thing that seemed to stick with people was that we were going to roll out free broadband. Even though we were talking about closing down food banks because we wouldn't need them anymore, because we had a radical we had radical change in our manifesto. When you compare that to the Tories' 3 simple words, we couldn't really compete. Also, we had doors slammed in our faces because of how we handled the issue of anti-Semitism. There should have been an apology sooner. We're proudly an anti-racist party, and we shouldn't have anyone in our communities feeling as though they have lost trust in us. Actually, as Deputy Leader, I have signed the Board of Deputies 10 pledges, but I've gone beyond that. I've made pledges of my own. Everyone needs to feel welcome in the broad church that is our Labour Party.
What about Brexit?
Brexit was, and still is, one of the biggest issues of our time, and we sat on the fence as a party for too long and we got splinters. In the end, people were not clear really whether they were in Leave or Remain seats, that we were the party for them. I think where we arrived to in the end was the correct position, that we should have a people's vote, but the time it took to get there was far too long. And I'm actually proud of the fact that I was the first shadow frontbencher to come out publicly calling for a people's vote, but I did it with respect. I spoke to Jeremy about it, and I did it because I believed it was the right thing to do. And I'm glad that our party got there in the end, but it took too long, and I think it cost us dearly in this last election.
That's interesting, because what you were saying about the Tory slogan, 3 words, right? Get Brexit done. It's simple. It conveys the point. And it's interesting to hear you say that you don't think it's the second referendum position itself that turned people off the Labour Party.
No.
You don't think it was these Leave voters, Leave supporters in northern seats, Midland seats, who have lent their vote to the Tory party. You maintain that a second referendum was the right position to take.
I believe it was the right position to take. Whether that damaged us, it's impossible to know, which is why I have drawn out my programme of listening in communities. Look, if someone comes to see me as a doctor and they have a problem, I don't diagnose them until I've taken a thorough history, examined them and run some tests sometimes. We've got to do the same with our communities. We can't put words in their mouth and say people didn't vote for us because of X, Y or Z. We actually have to ask them. And that's why I've launched my grassroots revival plan. It's actually a fantastic plan that talks about how I would get into these communities, but also how we would empower people locally and rebuild our movement from the grassroots up. And I think it's really important to note that the Brexit issue also goes hand in hand with people not trusting us to govern over a number of other issues. And I have met with activists and campaigners who said that when they knocked on doors, Brexit came up, but sometimes 3 times as often the leadership came up as well.
How are you going to feel on Friday when we leave?
Gutted.
What's your plan? You're going to be by yourself, with your family, reflect?
I've been reflecting for years over this. Look, I'm the daughter of a Polish woman. I'm a proud European. I'm proudly British. You know, we're an internationalist party, and it saddens me that we're not going to be part of the EU anymore. But now comes the real work of standing up for workers' rights, our environmental protections, our food standards, our security. And I'm going to be part of that fight as the deputy leader. But there is nothing to celebrate. It is deeply, deeply sad. But actually on Friday evening, I'm going to be in Exeter speaking to Labour Party members and convincing them that I'm the best deputy leader.
In that answer you said that you're proud to be British.
Very.
I wonder what part of being British makes you most proud.
British people are incredibly good, kind and outward-looking people. I really believe that. And when I went and called out a genocide, my messaging was that actually the British people would believe this is wrong. We would stand together. And I know that Brexit has caused so much division, but I'm proud of our British values. And I believe that as a country, for the most part, we really are tolerant and accepting and hugely decent and really, really caring of people across the world as well as our own communities. And yeah, I'm super proud of that.
Just finally, perhaps a key part of our modern British values, Love Island. You're a
Yeah.
Love Island fan.
I'm a little bit behind though
That's
on the
okay.
latest series. I'm quite psyched that it's in South Africa.
I won't spoil it for you. I wonder who your favourite couple is so far. Who do you think you want to win?
Oh, I don't have a current favourite.
Too early.
It's a bit early for me because I tend to find that as time goes on and I get to know people better, I tend to really find someone that I love. So it's a bit early days for me, and I'm a few days behind. But I find the psychology of it fascinating, and I do love it, and it's a really great way to switch off from campaigning. But to be honest with you, I'm campaigning 24/7 at the moment. Because I am so committed. I'm so committed to get on this ballot, and then I'm committed that the members get to meet me in a big way, and that they'll support me.
So committed, you have foregone watching Love Island. Rosena Allin-Khan, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.